What's up, everybody? John Eric Paula here with My MMA News, and I'm very excited to talk to today's guest because she has a huge fight coming up on November 14th. I'm talking to Miranda Granger, who fights Ashley Yoder on November 14th. That fight will be at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. So, Miranda, before we get into the fight, I just want to know, how's it going? How are things out there in Washington State?
It's going pretty good. Just dealing with the weather, being able to run outside or not run outside. But yeah, Washington's been pretty good.
Awesome, and I know you were just saying before we came on air here, you guys gotten some hail out there? Is already that type of cold weather starting to come through there?
Yes, like 10 minutes ago, hailing. But now it's like cleared up. It's a little sunny. So who knows what the day has for us in Washington.
Always a mystery up there. I love it. So, let's get into the fight though itself here because a big fight for you against Ashley coming up, like I said, on November 14th. So we'll start with Ashley as an opponent. What have you seen in her since you've been studying her for your fight camp?
Yeah, it's funny. I have actually been watching Ashley fight for a long time. She was already pro by the time that I even had started fighting. I remember watching her back on the Ultimate Fighter and thinking, like, I really wanted to fight her. I think stylistically we matched up really well. I know she's a really good grappler, but I also know she's been working on her striking. So it'll be kind of weird because usually, I'm pretty tall for the strawweight division. And I've usually fought girls that are like 5 foot, 5'2" in that range. And it'll be the first time that I've fought a girl who's 5'7". So I'm pretty excited about that. And, I think it's going to be a good challenge for me.
So what's that like for you then, trying to train against somebody that, you're not used to fighting somebody the same size as you, like you said? What's it like as you try to go in there and prepare for something like that?
It's actually way easier because all of my teammates are taller. So preparing for a shorter fighter, I really only have like one or two teammates that's even under 5'4". So that's actually becomes a little bit harder for me. But majority of my teammates are about my height or a little taller. So it's been actually pretty nice.
So I don't want you to get too far, obviously, into your game plan or anything, or share anything that you don't want to. But just asking you, just on the surface, like, what's it going to take to beat somebody like Ashley?
Ashley has never been finished before. So she's literally, and I don't think even in her amateur fights, I don't think she's ever been finished. I know she goes to a lot of split decisions. Some go her way, some don't. So I know she's a grinder. So I think it's just going to come down to who has more heart. My plan is always to finish. Out of my 7 wins, 6 of them are from finishes. So I think that I'm very calculated when I go into the cage, and I hope that I have that calculated aggression with her, and I hope that I'm able to pull off a finish against her.
All right, well, we're definitely looking forward to that fight, and now I want to, ask just a little bit about like what this year's been like for you because this will be your first fight, of the year. You're supposed to fight back in August, so I guess first off, just how excited are you just to be able to get back inside of the octagon, and then what happened back in August when you were supposed to fight and that fight got canceled?
Well, actually, a lot has happened this year. So starting last December, when I took my first loss, it was over in South Korea, and I ended up getting some pretty severe blood clots that I had to go to the emergency room. That could have been actually pretty bad if I hadn't addressed them. So I had to take some time off of contact for about 3 months, and then COVID hit, the world pandemic, and then finally got that fight that I was, wanted to kind of redeem myself. And my opponent had actually pulled out. She said she was injured, but according to things that she had posted and been doing, I don't really think she was that injured. So that was frustrating. Just wanted to get a fight on the books and get it going. So then when my manager called me and told me that, it was Ashley Yoder, I was really excited.
I'm glad I'm not obviously glad that you brought it up, but one of the things I did plan on asking you was about those blood clots. I know it was obviously a very, hard thing to deal with there. So I want to, I guess ask you about that now that you brought it up. What exactly, do you know what caused the blood clots in the lungs? Like, what was were they put a thumb on it as to what exactly the problem was there?
Yeah, I can kind of guess. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but just from what I was feeling on the flight down there, I had some pretty severe leg cramps in my calf, and I just kind of equated it to I was cutting weight and a little dehydrated, and it was a long flight. So, getting cramps here and there is pretty normal. I had pretty bad cramps all the way through fight week, even in my fight, but I had gotten kicked a few times pretty hard in my fight. So then on the flight home, my legs started like swelling up. Both legs started swelling up pretty bad. But I just equated it to like, I just was in a fight. So of course things are gonna, be hurt and happening. And I just didn't really put it together. And then on Christmas morning, or Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, I woke up and I had some chest pain and I rolled over to my husband, and I'm kind of a hypochondriac. So he was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "I'm sure something's wrong." And we went to the emergency room, and sure enough, the blood clots had traveled up into my lungs. And I mean, it could have been really bad. They said there were multiple blood clots that, if those broke loose, it could have been devastating. So I'm glad that I listened to my body. And, it was scary that it happened, but it also, made me take a little step back and realize like kind of what went wrong with the fight, which I think I probably would have just jumped into something and maybe not mentally been ready for it.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better now. Is there anything, though, like long-term that could happen from that type of an injury, the blood clot in the lungs, or are you all cleared, you're good to go, shouldn't be anything, serious going forward?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to worry about. I know kind of from what I've heard, once you get them, you're kind of more prone to them. But it's just, when you're on a plane, getting up every half hour, 45 minutes, making sure you're super hydrated, moving around. So I'm not, nothing is wrong right now. I had to be on blood thinners for 3 months, and then I went and got blood work and retested, and everything seemed to be fine. So we'll see. But as far as I know, I'm good.
All right, well, let's move on to some more, I guess, happier things that aren't life-threatening or anything like that. Let's talk, get back into the fight game here a little bit. I have to ask you, both your UFC fights were on short notice. So what's it like this time out? It's like, oh, great, I finally have a full, fight camp to prepare for an opponent.
Yeah, in both my fights, I just felt like I wasn't myself. And my first fight was on a little under 2 weeks notice. And then the second fight was about a little over 3 weeks notice. So I really have not had a lot of time to show my full self. And I think, I've had plenty of time to prepare for this fight. And even more so, like the long camps for physical, like cardio, I think mentally I need to get to that place. So I think with this longer camp, I've been able to get there, and I'm super hungry for this fight.
And another, obviously storyline for you coming into this fight, it's your first fight since suffering your first loss, not only of your UFC career, but your whole career in general there. You were, I believe, 7-0 coming into that last fight. So what did you take away from that last fight in defeat?
Yeah, I think for me, I just started fighting not to lose. I didn't fight with that same drive and determination that I had been, to get to the UFC. And my goal was always to get to the UFC. So I had so much determination to get there. And once I got there, I feel like I just kind of fell off a little bit trying to stay safe. I wanted, to work my way up the rankings. So I thought like, I just have to win instead of like doing all of the things that got me there in the first place. And after that loss, I think I took a step back and realized like, okay, what am I doing? If I'm not fighting like myself, then I'm never going to get there. So, I think just I'm ready to leave it all out there for this one. So
now, as I said in the beginning, this upcoming fight for you, it's going to be taking place in Vegas. I know you fought in Vegas, but I had to just ask because somebody I was like, looking through your Instagram there. You like to travel a lot, so you kind of bummed that you didn't get the Fight Island experience going out to Abu Dhabi and seeing a different part of the world?
A little bit, but also not so much. I mean, I know like the sleep schedule over there is absolutely insane. As far as like wanting to do it, I think the experience would have been amazing, but I also am really excited to fight in Vegas. My parents have another house in Vegas, so I'll be able to go down there a little bit early, kind of like acclimate, stay in my own bed I stay in a bed that's like my family's, at my family's house, and just really kind of get comfortable there. So I think with my first fight back, I'm glad that it's in Vegas.
So your family go out to Vegas then with you and be there, or do you have to quarantine and they're not even allowed to stay in the same house as you when you're out there?
So we're going to go down November 4th. So that's like 10 days early. I think most fighters come down like a week early and start their quarantine. I mean, I'll quarantine as far as like staying in my house with my family, and my family will probably quarantine as well. But my corner will be down there too. My husband, Charlie, my main coach, and my dad are going to actually be my three corners for this fight. So, I mean, it's basically my family anyway. So yeah, we'll all be quarantined together. And then, of course, when I have to go over to the hotel and truly quarantine, like we'll do the lockdown. So
So it's interesting though that you're gonna have your husband and your father in your corner. What's it like having people like that inside your corner? Because I mean, we all know sometimes like with your family, you can really get nasty with one another, so to speak, and take things personal, and you get really involved because it's your own family. So what's it like for you to have them in your corner as maybe opposed to other coaches?
yeah, so Charlie has been my coach since I was 4 years old, and my dad has been with me at the gym the same amount of time. So it's kind of like that. It's just a very well like working relationship. And for me, it's usually my husband and my coach are in my corner, just them two. But with the whole quarantine thing and not having people be able to be in the stands, my dad has never missed a single one of my sporting events since I can remember, literally my whole life. So just having him there like will make me feel comfortable. And I mean, as weird as it sounds, like I know every family has its problems and stuff, but my family is so like connected and united and been so supportive through this whole journey that when it comes to the fight, Charlie has the main word. Charlie has the say. It's more just having them there as my support system. And my husband is super knowledgeable about the sport and he can give his input here and there, but he has no ego, so it's nice because you can't have two of me in the same house. But yeah, so having him there and having my dad there, just on top of having Charlie there, is just for me is just going to be really like calming and helpful, I think.
So now that you have a vacation plan then for after the fight, being that you like to travel.
Yes, we're going to Maui on the 18th, 4 days after we're going for 2 weeks. I'm getting there.
Love it. Now, what's your favorite vacation spot? 'Cause I know obviously you've been to Hawaii. I think I saw photos from Malibu. A lot of nice beaches and all that. So, what's been the favorite vacation spot that you would recommend to anybody?
It's definitely Maui. We always try to go to Hawaii. Sometimes we go to Kauai. That'd probably be our second favorite island. But Maui is kind of our spot. It's kind of our spot that we go to after a big fight, especially after a long fight camp like this. It's the only place I feel like I can fully like decompress. Other vacations, if you go somewhere you don't know, it's like I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to try this. And in Maui, it's like just make a Mai Tai and go sit on the beach and relax. So you don't have to do a lot.
Have a few drinks, put the feet in the sand, just let life go by and enjoy it. I love hearing that. That's awesome. So obviously, good luck with the fight. Enjoy the vacation. Before you, head out here, though, I do have one other thing that I wanted to ask you about. It was again with an Instagram post. It was this very cute little girl that you posted a bunch of photos with, and there was a little story there. So I just wanted you to explain a little bit about those photos and about that little girl.
Yeah, so her name's Carter, and a girl at my gym, her name's Kelsey. She had a baby, and she's a single mom. The dad just kind of left her and not in the picture. When Carter was when we first found out like what was going on, she had a pretty big sized tumor and had to be like immediately as soon as she came out, pretty much had to go into a bunch of different surgeries and kind of had some complications and things came back and. When I posted those pictures was like one of the first positive things that had come with the whole experience. And she had come back where the tumor that they were most worried about had kind of like gone away. So the surgeries had worked and there's still been some complications from then on. But as of right now, everything's coming back positive. And I don't know, she's kind of like this little bundle of joy that makes you just realize like how special life is. And when you look at her and I mean, especially after like my last loss, I was like, poor me. And then, you get around this little baby that's been through more than most people will in their entire life. And you just realize like how important it is. And I'm going to get a little bit emotional right now because I love that little girl so much. But yeah, I mean, you just can't put a price on that. You can't put like I don't know, a true emotion. There's just so much love. And she just makes you realize like how important, living every single day to the fullest and living out your dreams really is. So
how does that help you then, like for somebody that's, like you, that's a professional fighter that, obviously you guys get so stressed out as you get into the final weeks of a fight camp, and then all of a sudden you have to look, you look over and see somebody like that. Does it kind of help you as a fighter kind of adjust the way you approach things mentally day in and day out?
It definitely does. I mean, it literally makes you want to go all in, all out every day, because you don't know. I mean, anything, I know it's cliche, but anything can happen in life, and any day can be your last day. And there's a lot of people that look up to you, and I want Carter to see all of these things that I'm doing and one day be able to do them for herself too, you know, and not just Carter, but any little kid or any little girl that's like wanting to pursue something like this, and just proving that there's no barriers on your life, and that people can tell you like, this is all you can get to, or this is going to happen, and then just breaking through that. You know, and I think a little Carter is like a perfect example of that. She's a medical miracle. So things like that just really help me push every day.
Well, those are the type of stories that we like to hear, especially hearing, medical miracles there, like you said it. Miranda, one other thing, too, that I have to ask. I'm in a spot in my life where I've been losing a lot of weight, and I've been recently trying to focus a little bit more on my core to try to tighten things up, maybe try to see if the abs could actually come out. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I know abs are mostly made in the kitchen, but where I'm going with this is after doing a few different, ab workouts and trying to include maybe 1 or 2 extra a day, and I'm really sore sometimes in my core. Then I saw the video you posted on your Instagram where your coach is literally just beating the shit out of your stomach, punching you as hard as he can. How in God's name are you not sore?
I mean, you get used to it. As weird as it sounds, you get used to it. So, it's called body conditioning for a while, and I think it's more of like an old school approach. I don't see a lot of fighters doing that anymore. If anything, it makes you like mentally tougher, but I definitely do still get sore. But I just think it makes you stronger in the long run. And I mean, it's kind of fun for us. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just something that gives me that little edge in my head, I think.
Does he ever lighten up when he's punching you, or is he full blast when he's throwing at you?
I mean, it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm calling him names and doing all that stuff while he's doing it, they tend to get a little bit harder. I mean, Charlie's kind of a badass, so I don't think he's punching me as hard as he possibly can, but it's definitely enough to make me feel it.
All right, Miranda, thanks for the time today. Before you run out, though, I just want to give you the time. Plug your social media, management, sponsors, anything along those lines that you didn't get to touch on. Please feel free to do it at this time.
Yeah, you just follow me on Instagram at Miranda Granger, on Twitter at Grangerous MMA. And I just want to give a shout out to my gym, Charlie's Combat Club, my coach, Charles Pearson, my husband, my family, my mom and my dad, my sister, my brother. They're all super supportive. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So I'm just thankful to everyone that's been supporting me on this journey, and I'm excited for what's next.
Well, there you have it. Thanks, Miranda, for the time. We appreciate it, and best of luck to you on your fight on November 14th. That was a great interview. We touched on a lot there. Again, really appreciate it, and we also really appreciate all you guys out there for watching all of this stuff. So I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see more interviews like this when they come out. Also, make sure you check out MyMMANews. A lot of great stuff coming out there. And make sure you go to our social media accounts as well. Give us a like, give us a follow. As always, we appreciate it. We'll see you later, everybody.